Hey, beautiful people, beautiful people. Morning, 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 morning. God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. God is the greatest all the time. All the time, God is the greatest. And I want to give God thanks that He allowed me to see today. He didn't have to, He chose to, and I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. You know, if it were not for God, I don't know what would have happened to me. I tell you, I would probably be the worst person on this planet. You know, He's still beautifying me inside and out, making me to be a better and better individual every day. And I'm thankful for Him. Thankful to Him for all of that. I'm thankful to Him for His many, many blessings, His present blessings, His future blessings, His past blessings. Never had to bless me, He chose to. And I'm grateful to God for that. You know, because He has given me boldness, confidence, creativity, dynamism, beauty, everything that is positive He has given to me, and I'm so thankful for Him. I'm grateful to Him for that. All right, my beautiful people, with all of those beautiful things being said, there's something that I want to touch on today, because it is a disturbing culture. I'm not saying that it is something that doesn't happen in other areas or other countries across the world, but I am dealing with my country, Jamaica. I'm not talking about, I love you too, bro. I love you so much. And may God bless you and your family. I'm not talking about other countries, because yes, I'm born. Me a Jamaican, and me want to deal with my country before me can deal with other person's countries. You understand what I'm saying? It's like your home. You don't go to somebody else and clean your home and throw dirt in your own home. Well, we hope that you don't do that. We expect that you clean your homes before you go to somebody else's place to clean it up. No, I'm talking in reference to the young fellow from, I don't know if it's Portmore United football team. I don't know what the name of the football team. I don't want to call the wrong name. Really? So whichever football team it is, and I heard that he shoplifted. He got an opportunity to go overseas so that his career and his life really would begin, you know, and perhaps bring him some financial freedom and other freedom. And he shoplifted. Now, let me tell you, first and foremost, he has to take responsibility, because he's a big fellow. It don't matter if he's 16, 17, 18, I'm not sure the age of the child or the fellow, but he's a big person, either a young adult or almost getting to adulthood. And he shoplifted, so he needs to take responsibility for his actions. But this is where I'm going to deal with it. When you are going to school, you are taught how to read, you are taught how to write. You didn't just go to school, they put you in the class, the teacher looks in your face and you look back in the teacher's face. They systematically, through different methods, taught you how to read and to write, so that when you get older, you'll be able to use the knowledge that you are given, the ability to read and write, so that you can survive life's challenges and life's blessings. So you never just go to school and sit down in the class, tear upon the blackboard, I have to say it that way there, and the blackboard tear back in your face. You went to school as a child, and the teacher methodically taught you how to read and how to write. As you got older, your brain was even more creative, so that you can deal with complexities, like you would have calculus and the science subjects and all of those things, so you can deal with it. And God granted us, you know, diverse mentalities or diverse minds. So some of us will be scientists, some of us will be doctors, lawyers, footballers, singers, you know, actors, actresses, dancers, actuaries, all of these different things, you know, which are God-given. But you had to be systematically taught, methodically taught by your teachers and your tutors. All right? Now, with that being said, let me juxtapose it to your primary source of socialization, which is the home, wherever it is that you may reside. Now, that is where the fundamentals of life, the principles of life should be taught. Now, for me, and I don't want to pass any judgment on anyone, especially the fellow, if the fundamental teachings were taught to that fellow, that would not have happened. Many persons today are not murderers. Many persons today are not thieves or breaking the law, because we were taught not to break the law. Maybe some of it has to do with fear. You don't want to go to prison. You know, so just the idea of going to prison it doesn't matter. It's an indirect way of teaching you not to steal. But what I'm simply saying to you is that somebody will not know what it is not to steal or not to become red eye if it is that they're not taught to not be grudgeful, red eye, and whatever it is, and covetous. Now for me, that young fella may not have been taught those fundamental principles. And the problem that I have in Jamaica is that many of these homes, they do not teach their children fundamental principles. I tell people, you know, they misunderstand the Bible. They think it is confusing, or it is saying one thing in one area and another thing in another. It is not. They're all intertwined. They all link. It says in the early scriptures, spare not the rod so that you do not spoil the child. Many of you think back when your mothers and your fathers or your guardians or whoever it is that you grew up with used to beat you. I'm not talking about abuse. I don't deal with that. I'm talking about beating in the right way. I remember this guy I was dating years ago. He said to me, the buttocks, the bottom is the area to beat. Because if you notice, if you take your hand and you slap your butt, you don't really feel that sting as if somebody hit you on your hand or on your leg. Right? That is where you beat your children. That is where you beat your children. Now for me, if I did for me bikini, because you know it is not something that happened overnight. He don't just get up and just say, oh, I'm going to shoplift. That seed was planted and not dealt with. It wasn't uprooted. It was nipped in the bud from early days. So you know, just get up overnight and it just went away like that. And what some persons may say, a lot of people say, oh boy, I'm getting an opportunity and blew the opportunity. Right? He would have gotten financial freedom under the exposure and all these things become popular. It doesn't work like that. If you take a pig out of the sty and you put him in a luscious green grass, he's still going to create a sty in there. That is why the Bible said, don't cast your pearls before swine. So in other words, although he got the opportunity, the fact of the matter is he had a flaw within him that should have been dealt with, that was not dealt with. So it goes back to leadership. Leadership, whether in the home, leadership, whether at school, leadership otherwise. If he was taught the principles, that's for the beginning, wouldn't do that. Or adult, whatever age he may be. You understand what I'm saying? So, you see all of them things what them talk about taking beatings out of schools or out of homes or wherever it is that they say must take the beatings out of. And that is why we're facing the problems we are today. Because a lot of children are not taught discipline. And learn not to be covetous. Learn not to be long eye, red eye. And I'm not saying that you won't admire things. I like the finest things in life. I love them. I love, oh my God, my flamboyance. Maybe if me did well, you know, I see it in every way. Fashion and farm, because I love flamboyance. I love nice things. Because I'm a nice somebody, me clean. Why not? God says I am royalty. I'm a princess. I'm a queen. Why not? Once me know me now do no bandula thing or any little thing that is illegal to get these things. And if I see somebody drives a nice car, so one day, you know, if life spare and God allows me in the right manner, I can get something similar, you know, and when I'm able to. Because you will admire things and you must aspire to be better and get greater and better things. I'm not going to expect you to stuck at square one, but you do it in the right fashion. Because you were taught those principles, whether directly or indirectly. Because remember, you know, we have for the majority of us, we have our 5 senses. People only feel that you have to hear the words, do not steal. You learn through circumstances. So your senses will, it's picking up all of these things and you're learning. It's training your body. It's training your mind. It's training your thoughts. Right? To do right from wrong. And I'm not talking about imperfections now. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being systematically taught, whether directly or indirectly, the things to do and the things not to do. The legal things and the illegal things. So when there a lot of people say, oh, he's foolish and he's stupid. Yes, he acted extremely foolish. I will not negate that, and I will not say that he should not pay the consequences. But my point is that he is one of many persons who are suffering the fate today. I was telling somebody about a site that you can sell and that sells a lot of Jamaican things. Shopping JA, sell, you know, cars and so on. And so I remember I was advertising a gadget that I had sometime last year and all of that. And somebody took the time out to send me a message to say, you know, I have a name on it called Priceless. And he said to me, you're the only person who is actually honest on this site. No, you have a whole heap of person selling, because maybe he has experience as well as other persons have experienced persons selling them stolen goods. Because sometimes when you go on this site and you see the prices of phones or gadgets or things, and you say, how it is that these people are able to sell it at these prices when you have to pay duty and the markup price and all, and plus for them to make their own profit. Sometimes one of them would come and say, why you think it's so expensive? I say, hello, sweetie pie, you know how much I paid for this? Plus, you don't expect me to make a profit too. I mean, sometimes, and it just dawned on me what it is that the person had the person took the time out to send to me. That I would be the only honest. I mean, I know I'm probably not the only one, but he's just saying that I'm totally in the minority. And you have quite a number of persons selling on that site. So you have to be very, very careful. Especially when you say not everything that glitters is gold. Meaning, if you know that the thing is expensive, for example, and you see where it is not like it's something that is used however long or outdated or something like that, and you say this price is too big, maybe it really is too good to be true. You have to be very careful. It can be somebody stolen goods. I was talking to a particular person who is popular out there just this morning, and the individual said she was traveling, coming back, accidentally left her iPad on the plane. When she tried to go back, the goods were not there. The iPad wasn't there. Gone. Stolen. You understand what I'm saying to you? Stolen. This plane was coming directly to Jamaica. Another friend of hers was going from New York to Miami, left her phone accidentally, and she got back the phone. I feel so bad when I hear these things. I know that thieves and grudgeful and covetous persons are all over. But I'm saying that Jamaicans, we create us being treated like criminals when we go overseas. You can't blame the people overseas because of the experiences that they have had. Some of the things may not come on the media. Her thing probably didn't come on the media. She just volunteered to say it. And we wonder why they treat us. Think about it. Let's just suppose. Let us turn the table the other way around. If you find that somebody from a different country, you find that every time you catch 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, you find somebody who's stealing with drugs and all, you're going to treat them the same way because you name human being too. So you can't go say that they're wicked and they're evil and them just treat us like criminals. We are the ones who cause that. I'm not saying that everyone. The good end up suffering for the bad. So when you go there, you feel like a criminal. You have to take off this, take off that. You understand what I'm saying? Nervous when the thing goes off, although you know that you don't have anything. No, you have to train up a child in the way he should go, that when he's old, he doesn't depart from it. I told somebody this when I was going to Holy Childhood High. And I remember the late, great Sister Mary Stephanie. She said to us, ladies, that lady was just excellent with her English. You know, I mean, God, no. It's like when English was given away, them did just dose her with it. I think once in my life I heard her saying one word in patois. It was just phenomenal. The entire school cracked up. But the point I'm making is this. I never forgot. Every morning when they had the devotion and all of that, she would say, ladies, do not walk on the lawn. No, she means to get with trouble and people just did mischievous. We still have a little mischievous thing with me, you know, but, you know, in a good sense. You know, just to make people laugh in a good way. And she you know, still will kind of, you know, give a little trouble and walk on the lawns and, you know, and it would seem as if her words were just falling on deaf ears. As I got older, I didn't even realize it. Sometimes I find myself looking at lawns and it's like I can't even lift my foot or my one foot first before I lift the other to step on the lawn. It's like I freeze. I don't know how else to say it. If you see me, Toni and Toni-A-Baker walking on lawns, it's because maybe some rubble in the road, something is wrong with the wall, water is on the road, whatever it may be, some debris or of some form or other. For you to see me walking on the lawn, and when I walk, I'm tiptoeing. It's like I'm so uncomfortable. I can't wait to come off the lawns. Her words took root. Her words took root. And yes, as I got older, it took effect. Because I was taught not to walk on the lawns. Do not assume that your children will know not to steal, not to covet. not to be jealous, grudgeful, bad-minded, these things. You have to systematically, methodically, in your own way, because you're all different, teach your children. You don't need to abuse them to teach them. I said to somebody, one of the reasons, it has nothing to do with Christianity, why I don't curse bad words. You won't hear me, you don't care how upset I am, you won't hear me curse bad words. I'm not telling you that, it don't come to my mind, because I'm living in the real world. But I ask God to help me for self-control. You understand? And I just find it to be distasteful. You understand? So, Mark, I've heard people doing it in comedy things, and honestly, I end up laughing. I'm talking about when they're being derogatory with it. Because you have words that are not considered bad words, that to me they have a stinging effect even more than if somebody tell you the regular bad words that we call as bad words. And I remember saying the word S-H-I-T, shit, when I was younger. Like a pitney, maybe 10, 9, 8, one of that age. I was at the top of the stairs, my mother was down, and when something happened and I frantically said shit, and the look that my mother gave me, let me tell you, man, me nearly do it up myself, let's say it that way. You understand? The look, that look alone, I could not even dare say another swearing word or even, and that was my deterrent from cursing bad words. I'm just saying to you that you cannot assume that your children will know. You have to nip whatever it is that you see in the bud. So you will see some children being rude and disrespectful and saying some things are still, Lord in cutie, Lord, leave him alone, it will blow up. But stay there. Go and read Jean Piaget, one of the former psychologists, the late Jean Piaget and Vygotsky, about the formative years of children, the important years of children. 0 to 7, some may say 0 to 8. You see those years, so you need to teach your picnic them principles. Right? So that you do not decay the moral fabric of the society. So that they not bring your shame in your eye. And he said, oh, I don't know. I don't know. And you're there patting down your head. Wondering how it is that this child gets up and shoplifts. It doesn't matter if I could have somebody even said to Bill Gates, I'm going to give him $10 million US. Him still go shoplift because he was not taught the fundamental principles. You cannot assume that he will know if you don't tell him or teach him or her. He's just one of many children, young adults, young teen, whatever age he may be, who are suffering from such fate. You are mandated a responsibility to teach your children the right way of living so that they not bring shame in your eye. I'm not saying that you won't have exceptions to the rules. Those are exceptions to the rules. But you can't know where you're going to fall. You still have to do your part. You're mandated as parents, as guardians, as God. Once it is that you're going to be rearing and raising somebody. But when you're taking beating out of school, you pick it if you get a lick under their skin once you're not abusing them. When me a picnic, me could thief? 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 You must be mad as shad. Lord have mercy. I probably would have try hide out for days. Just the thought of coming home to how my mother would react to that. You understand what I'm saying to you? I mean, I tell you no. If I did feel me picking, Jesus of his merciful Father. Train up a child in the way he or she should go, that when they're old, they will not depart from it. And what it is basically saying, it has nothing to do with imperfections, because no one is perfect. All right? They will slip and slide, but there are certain things that the child will not do. So they will not bring shame to your eyes and embarrass you in your homes, in your communities, at your workplaces, and all over. Don't assume that your children will know. If that were the case, then God would not have asked you to do all of that. Society would not expect you to be raising your children. Or you wouldn't need to send them to school because you're just going to assume that they can read and write. My heart breaks because a lot of the slackness goes on from persons who are mandated with leadership to lead in the right way. And that is why you find the moral fabric of our country breaking down, 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 and down. And then when they bring shame to you, want to know, come and say, oh, yeah, you want to try to, you know, abuse a child or whatever it may be, as if you think that is going to work. And then the prisons are filled, especially with men. That's why women are talking about their short. There's no shortage of any men. It's where they are. It is where they are. And people don't, something don't dawn on persons, or the powers that may be, let me say it in that way, let me be specific, that wait, when you look in the prisons across the island, and it is filled with so many men, especially, that we don't have an issue with this, a lot of young men are dying by the guns. And you know the worst part of it is, and this is global now, is that it is among the black race. I remember somebody saying to me that Bill Gates has a lot of he has a lot of scholarships that he gives to the black community, because I guess he wants them to uplift themselves because of the whole slavery thing coming out of it and the way how they're viewed. So he's trying to educate them so that they can lift up themselves, you know, and not feel as though they're inferior to whites and so on. And they say many of them don't take up the offers. And then you talk about how the black race has been, I'm not saying that they have not faced racism and all of that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying many of them, to whom much is given, much is required. Many of them have been given opportunities that they have blown. You know why? Because they were not taught the principles of how to accept opportunities. They were not taught the principles of not knowing not to covet. Not to covet. Not to be greedy. Not to be long eye, red eye. Not to see people things and want it. And steal. That is why a sensible thinking person, somebody who is trained well, not gonna do those things. Think about it. Just use yourself as benchmarks. There are certain things that you're not gonna do because you were taught otherwise. Your parents, grandparents, guardians, whoever it is that raised you, taught you principles through your five senses, directly and indirectly. Some of them may not have said certain things, but you saw the lives that they lived, or the environment that you were in, or the words that they said. So it's not one way. It's a multiplicity of ways that you were taught fundamental principles, so that you're not one of those persons who break away at the moral fabric of your country. So that when you clean up your yard, you can go to other people's houses and clean it up too. Or make it better. Contribute in a healthy fashion. I am annoyed at the leadership in the homes. I'm annoyed at the leadership outside of the homes. And that is why we face the problems we face in the country, Jamaica. That is the issue. That is the problem. That is what is annoying to me. And we don't care. We don't deal with it. Sometimes you're on the road and somebody may see somebody doing something wrong. You either become fearful, or if it is that you say something, the way how they, my God, when them don't take off every piece of clothes with the words that they tell you. Huh? Disciplining people or talking to people to help them to be better human beings is almost a myth these days. It's almost phenomenon. It's almost unheard of. But you know what? We can get back to those days if we choose to. If we choose to. So if it is that as an adult you're on the road and you see a child doing something, say something to them. I do it sometimes. I'm not saying to you what I don't practice. I'm not going to tell you that every single solitary time I do it. But there are times I will do it. It may make a difference. I was listening to Les Brown. He said when he was younger, he was considered, he uses, I don't know, educable, mentally retarded term. Something like that I hear him saying. Right? And a lot of the kids would have him that he's a twin. The other one was bright. He was, as Jamaicans would say, duns. And the teacher, one day he was in somebody's class waiting on a friend, and the teacher said, go up to the blackboard and do this or do that or do this. He said, I can't do it. And he said, no, I can't do it. I can't. And he said, why? The teacher said, why? He said, because I'm labeled educable, mentally retarded. I need to get back what he said. Anyway, the teacher just went over to him and looked him square in the eyes and said, don't you ever say that again about yourselves, or don't you ever allow someone to determine who you are. He said from that day on, his life changed. From that day on, his life changed. Because he was taught a fundamental principle by one of the secondary sources. And that is why he is the Les Brown he is today, the motivational speaker. So you can't expect your child to come out to be gold, lawyers, doctors, you know, and all these wonderful things, and you don't teach them principles. So that fella that stole, that fella that went and he shoplifted, you think it's a matter, you think because he was offered an opportunity to go overseas, or offered an opportunity for financial freedom and to show his talent and skills and all of that, you could have, as I said, I could have Oprah Winfrey he was gonna meet and get some money from it. The same problem would have happened. Because we are broken away as leaders at the moral fabric of our country. We not teach, we picking if you satisfy. Whether you're poor or you're in between or you're rich. We not teach, we picking it them, not for covet, not for see, long eye, red eye, and what not belong to you, not for you, and you not go after it. You work in a legal and in a moral, in a right way to get what it is that you want when that time comes. In the right way. I am very upset at the leadership in general across the board. Maybe I've been guilty in where I could have done better in somebody else's that I don't know. I'm just assuming. And when we try to, as people, to unite and say, let us try and deal with it. No, sir. I'm afraid. Me don't want them mark me off. Me don't want them kill me. Me don't want them, all sorts of things. A lot of so-called wonderful excuses. Let me remind you of something. You can't escape life alive. You cannot escape life alive. If you're to be fired, you'll be fired. You're going to die. Whatever it is that you're trying to hold on to, you're going to lose. It sounds tough, but it is a reality. So, I would encourage you, to whom much is given, much is required, to do the right thing. Where you can make a difference, where you can be a world changer in somebody's life, be that world changer. As that teacher was to Les Brown and many other persons that he came across. I can only pray that for those of us who are given much, that we will execute the much that we have been given. It makes no sense to blame that fellow because he's one of many. What we need to do is get to the resolutions. I find that in this country we talk a lot. We talk because we want to hear ourselves and it sounds good. To say, oh, and we sound educated and we sound bright. But let us get to the resolution. What it is that we can do to prevent even one more person from doing the same thing as that young fellow. What it is that we can do to make somebody else's life better. That's the thing. So we need to get to the resolution. Follow? We need to get to the resolution. And that is train our children in the way they should go, that when they're old, they do not depart from it. If you're on the road and you want to, you see something that doesn't seem right, and you feel led to say something to the person, say it. Don't worry about how it is that they're going to react. You just know that the blood is off your shoulder. You would have done the right thing. You would have done the right thing. Wherever you can make a difference, wherever I can make a difference, let's make the difference. Let's talk about, oh, I fear this, I fear that. Trust me. 3/4 of the things that you fear it's not necessarily gonna happen, or it may just happen, whether or not you speak out. But what you want to do is lessen your regrets and take the blood off your shoulder. We're not here for ourselves. We're here to serve each other. It really takes a village to train a child, you know. That is why back in the day when my mother was younger, she said you can't even pass an adult and not say good morning. Nowadays, when you're going some places, I mean, even adults are guilty of it. No one says morning and you're in close proximity of each other. In a building, I'm talking about. In an organization, not even talking about being on the roads. So I can only encourage all of us to prevent somebody else from falling in such fate. My encouragement is, with that guy, he has to take responsibility. That's the thing. We need to teach our children to take responsibility, or that's how they will crumble in life. Take responsibility so that they lessen their regrets and lessen certain actions. But rehabilitate him. Don't mark him off. Rehabilitate him and the many others as best as you're able to. You don't know who will fall astray. You don't need to worry about that. That's none of our concern. What we need to worry about is doing the right thing, getting to the resolutions. Getting to the resolutions, how we can solve the problems. And don't underestimate that if you see a child on the road and you say something, don't do that, it will fall to deaf ears. That's not your concern. That's not my concern. I need to know I'm doing the right thing. You need to know that you're doing the right thing. Oh, my heart is full. My heart is full. My heart is full. But let's hope and pray that, you know, some positive will come of this somehow, some way. All right, people, so have a beautiful day. Do your best at your jobs, whatever job it is that you do. Do your best at it. You're not at the best you know, but do your best as you're able to. All right, so that God can bless you with more and to become better and better every day. Have a blessed day. Love y'all. Do take care.